There's a term that I came up with to kind of summarize this whole concept, but it's called organized chaos. I think the best way to frame how to anticipate what women respond to is organized chaos. I think we've established that women are inherently chaotic relative to men, and men crave order relative to women, right? I don't think men aren't also chaotic in our own ways, or there aren't chaotic men or organized women, but I think there's some of that yin and yang there. But I found that what women respond to more than chaos and more than organization is somewhere in the middle. When you think about it from a nature standpoint, it kind of makes sense, because reality to a degree is organized chaos. Nature to a degree is organized chaos. You know, it's got its laws and its boundaries, but within those boundaries there is chaos. And creation happens in chaos. Whether you think of childbirth, or whether you think about it from a religious standpoint, or whether you think about it from a scientific Big Bang standpoint, the genesis, pun intended, of creation is chaos, right? And I think women have a familiarity, or let's just say familiarity with that chaos in a way that men don't. And I think that's why we struggle often understanding women and understanding why they don't respond to the things we think they should, or why we aren't getting the results we think we should get based on the things we think they should be responding to, right? And I think that's what's lost from this. Before, it was, you know, if you get your money up, then you're gonna get bitches. And we found out that was bullshit. Then it was, if you get your looks together, then you're gonna get big bitches. And it's like, that's less bullshit, but it's also bullshit.
This is baffling to guys, but the fact of the matter is that you do not need money to get laid. You might need money if you want to get married, but you definitely don't need money to get laid. And it's a kind of a function of their male rational mindset. They listen to talks online, or they buy programs, and what do women want? And they say, okay, women want abs, women want tall guys, women want rich guys. And they think, okay, well, some of those things I can do, some of those things I can't do. So, but it's like, okay, I'll get the abs, check. I'll get the money, check. And so now all I have to do is go up in front of a woman and say, in so many ways, and just let her know, hey, I am a rich guy with abs, and they're supposed to just like line up to fuck them. And let me tell you that's not how it works.
But I think these are those nuances, and understanding the pathology of women and how they view the world relative to us. And you know, for my Dragon Ball Z folks watching, if I did a poll right now, who was a more interesting character, Goku or Vegeta? And Gary said Vegeta by far. and you know, I think that is the paradox here, that I think women are far more familiar with, and men in a sense are maybe passively, because with Vegeta relative to Goku, his story had a redemption arc, right? He started off as a bad guy, and you know, along the way he literally did a 180, right? It's the pinnacle of character development from an anime standpoint. If you ask most people who were familiar with that series, they would also agree that Vegeta was a more compelling, textured, layered character than Goku, for example.
How dare you! That's my
power! Even you know, my favorite move, even on the video games, is Final Explosion. Like, that shit is amazing. When he sacrificed himself, he thought he was, you know, getting rid of Boo, but that to go from trying to blow up the world to now blowing up yourself for the sake of your family and your friends and things that the old you didn't used to care about, that's range. Same thing in Avatar, Prince Zuko. oftentimes we don't take a step back to try to find some of these parallels to try to understand the pathology. But when you do, it starts to kind of make sense why, as ridiculous as it seemed to me at first, that yeah, Tyrone, from the perspective of a woman, might be more compelling than the actor who plays him. Phenotypically, they're the same, but he's got a beard, he's a bit more scruffy, his disposition is a bit more stoic. There's a story here. And from the perspective of a woman who cares so much about stories, that's going to be more attractive, compelling, etc. So moving forward, there was a clip that I've shared before, and I've probably used it in one of my streams. It was a clip of Brother Polite, and he said this theory that I thought is interesting, and I think it also helps us understand the topic at hand. He said that, I think he was asked, you know, what's the secret to women or whatever. And he said that, you know, throughout history, the 3 types of men who've always had success with women, 3 archetypes: preachers, teachers, and gangsters.
I'm gonna tell you these 3 things first. I'm not gonna tell you to get these kind of guys, but these are the best guys that planet Earth has to offer. And I'm not saying you should deal with them. There's the teacher, there's the preacher, and there's the gangster. Those are the ones that women are always gonna go for. Then the rest of the guys, they get their women and it always goes to hell. Your best relationships is going to come out with those guys. Of course, the life path is going to determine what kind of stress you might have to endure. Reason being, and I'm just keeping it 1,000 with you. Okay, women give men the necessary adversity to become more disciplined. And so if the man relinquishes his discipline for the woman, then there's a weak brother. And so the goal is for him to be commissioned by his woman to be greater without her having to do it. Just her being a woman is enough. And in him maintaining his discipline, and I'm going to explain what this means, in him maintaining his discipline, he then makes her better. And then vice versa, they keep making each other greater and better, because accountability, of course, is on the man because he has the most women.
Now, again, if we're looking at this through the lens, pun intended, of filmmaking, part of that reason is because a story about a preacher, a teacher, or a gangster is inherently interesting in a way that a story about an accountant might not be. I know that's changing now. You know, Hollywood is going the route of slice of life and doing stories that seem mundane or about everyday type of people, but the complexity of the everyday, the complexity of the banal. But typically speaking, just from a basic level, if you were writing a film and you needed an antagonist, you needed a protagonist, you needed a good guy villain, you know, you're going to think of either dramatic versions of texture or more, you know, everyday versions of texture, like somebody who obsesses over knowledge, somebody who obsesses over God, or somebody who obsesses over money. And, you know, he said that the reason they've always done well with women is because they've got other things that they care about beyond women. Preacher cares about God more than women. God comes before anything. The teacher cares about his work, his studies, the quest for truth, his expedition, whatever it is, his thesis, whatever it is, book. The gangster cares about money, M-O-B, money over. So the question then is, how can we incorporate some of the nuances of these archetypes in our chiseling of ourselves? Because again, I don't think we should change ourselves for women, because that'll come across as well. Like, I was watching the Pop the Balloon show, and it's interesting to see these guys who are trying so hard to sell themselves, and it backfires. But I think there is knowledge to get from an understanding of some of these nuanced things that compel women's attention, compel women's interest, maintain women's interest. Because again, the reality I think we have to wrap our heads around is like, women's nature is not one that prefers the mundane. Women's nature is not one that prefers peace.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
It sounds so fucked up. It sounds counterintuitive. It's, in my opinion, it's healthier from a managing expectation standpoint, from a also giving her the latitude to express the reality of who she is standpoint, to not expect yourself in her, yourself as a man in her, and expect that this is the personification of chaos. Some chaos is larger than others, obviously. And to a degree, my job is to guardrail it, direct it, because it's also powerful, right? And respect it as well. Hey, if you've made it all the way to the end, please click that like and subscribe button. Also share this with somebody that you think would gain value from it. Click the thumbnail at the top if you want the full video. Click the thumbnail at the bottom if you want a video that's closely related to this. Again, like, share, subscribe. Appreciate you guys for watching. Check out some more of our content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.